Hello, everybody. My name is Jacob, and welcome to the Epileptic Gamer Podcast. This episode is difficult to record, and not because it's lack of research. It's just because of the way the topic is. And I understand that's confusing, and I can see why, but I need you to hear me out. The game industry is already at its worst, and we're not even halfway through 2024. And that's not a good thing. For those of you that are wondering why I'm saying this, Hi-Fi Rush, one of the top games that just came out, revered by one of the best, at least, by a lot of IGN, Games Rant, got highly reviewed, pretty much everywhere you can look. The studio that made it was just shut down. Arcane Lion, which made Prey, Dishonored, and several other games, just got shut down. The people that make Elder Scrolls are now going to be merged into ZeniMax, which was Elder Scrolls Online, and a studio that is going to make a mobile game is shut down. And these are four studios, mind you, that have maybe hundreds of people working for them, that are without a doubt going to lose their jobs. And on top of that, they are backed by $1 trillion company. $1 trillion company in Microsoft. If that isn't something that scares you, it should. Because if somebody like Microsoft and a game that is successful as Hi-Fi Rush can't save your studio, then what's safe? Tell me a game studio right now that is safe, because nothing is. You need to look at the state of gaming right now in 2024. We've had massive flops already. Redfall is one of them. And the fact that we are leaning on remakes to get by, I mean, I get it. Yeah, nostalgia factor. Hooray. But at what point do we look at this and say, okay, this isn't good? We thought we were past this. We haven't heard anything about layoffs in quite some time, and that it was a good thing until now. And it is May. It's May 10th. That's when I'm recording this. This is supposed to be a happy day for me, because I'm going to launch a new YouTube channel for me. But I have to record this because the game industry is in such shitty way that I have to record what in my opinion is going to be the hardest episode, and I will hate myself for saying this on the line. What in my opinion is the hardest episode that I will ever have to record and release in the history of this podcast, because I am unfortunately looking at this at views perspectives, and if I see this as a success, I will be looking at myself as a complete asshole because I am getting success off of people's failures, and that isn't fair. We are seeing hundreds of people lose their jobs, people getting bought out, potentially losing jobs in the process. We don't even know what goes on in that deal. So when we see the Activision Blizzard, we don't know, is the same people staying on? Are people losing jobs? We don't know for certain. And that's what worries me. And what worries me more is if you can't get $1 trillion company to back you, then there's nothing safe. Nothing is safe. Not Activision, not Naughty Dog, let me think of one. I can't think of one off the top of my head. Not Grower Games, not Santa Monica Studios, and you know what? Fuck it, I'm gonna say it. Not EA Sports. Nothing is gonna save these, because this is layoffs. And before you go in the comments of the YouTube channel and say, oh, well, this happens in every industry. My podcast is called The Epileptic Gamer. I'm going to break the fourth wall for a second. If you think I cover movies, music, and whatever, you're wrong. I cover Arcane and Last of Us shows because can you take a wild guess on what they're based off? Arcane is a League of Legends story. The Last of Us, plot twist. Can you take a wild guess what that's based off of? The Last of Us. So, in hard truth, I don't give a damn on what goes on about the movies industry, the music industry. I could give a rat's ass about what's going on over there. But when it comes to gaming, that's my niche. That is where I am located. And when you see the gaming industry at its worst, and we're not even going into June, it's early May as of me recording this. That's not good. It's not. And it is going to be probably a shitty episode. I am all over the place. But you're going to get this episode the second it is done recording. Along with one or two other episodes. Because the fact that we are at this type of spot and we have successful games coming out, successful games that are going to be coming out, like Rise of the Ronin just came out, did very well. So Hi-Fi Rush, which is affected by the studio launch, shutdown, just came out, did extremely well. That's not good. And the fact that we are kind of in this state of limbo, oh my god, who's next? That's scary. And I can't imagine how these game developers are feeling, because here we go with hundreds of people lost. I mean, Naughty Dog or some popular studio just posted a job listing saying we are looking for X, Y, and Z members. That's just my example. And people were over the moon. People applied, and I'm sure some people got accepted. Good for them. But at what point do you look at your dream job and think, maybe this isn't my dream job after all? If I'm seeing what's going on with Hi-Fi Rush and Dishonored, Arcane Studios, all of that, I'm worried. This is not good. And you cannot tell me with a straight face that this is good, because it's not. In no way. I mean, what's stopping us from seeing tomorrow that Sony is buying out every studio and absorbing into one? It technically already happened. We have a thing called PlayStation Studios. Horizon Zero Dawn's in it. Last of Us is in it. Uncharted, I believe, is even in it. It covers a lot of ground. So, what's to stop them from shutting that down? I mean, it's PlayStation, obviously nothing. But Microsoft couldn't keep a studio open. They couldn't keep 4 studios open. What's to stop Sony from doing the same? If for those of you that don't remember, I did a podcast episode a little while back called Is Microsoft Failing and Not Succeeding? And it is, in my opinion, one of the controversial episodes of my podcast. Still one of my favorites, though. And I came into the fact with the hottest take of them all, and this is the one question I get asked. Why am I so certain that Xbox will not have another console? I am so certain that it's not going to have another console because they are buying out so many studios that they don't know what to do with them. I mean, Fallout just came out and it did extremely well. But here's the kicker. Now there's rumors that they want to expedite Fallout 5 over Elder Scrolls 6. Well, that's not good. Because if you're expediting a game, you're not letting it breathe. You're not letting it develop, and we're going to have this cyberpunk on our hands. Bethesda Studios, you should have learned after Starfield. And it comes down to the fact that, here's another one. What's to start Bethesda from one day saying, we're done? Nothing. Nobody saw this hi-fi tango, everything. Nobody saw this coming. And that's the cold, hard reality. Is no one. Nobody saw it coming. And the fact that we're living in a gaming industry that are kind of, it's unpredictable. It's like, I can understand why it's unpredictable. That's just the way video games are. That's the way the industry is. I'm not a game developer. I only worked in code once, and that's when I went to college for it. My college closed. And that's all I'm going to say on that, because I did not want to get doxxed. But I'm not a game developer. I do not know what goes into making video games exactly. But what I can tell you is this. I can tell you that it's a lot of hardworking people. I've visited a game studio. I've seen people work on games. I've met one of the people that made the VR game I Expect You to Die. He was one of my teachers. It was a lot of fun learning from someone that was in the game studio. And now I'm afraid for them, because if this is happening, what's to stop that from happening? Now, again, I'm a podcaster, not a game developer. So why should I care? I care because I'm a gamer. I want the best for everybody. You should want the best for everybody. Because if you don't, we're not getting the best quality product, and that means they can justify charging $70 for a subpar game. That's not fun. We shouldn't have to pay $70 for a subpar game. You want to talk about a subpar game? Let's just take... No, not a subpar game, I'm sorry. Look at Helldivers 2. They charged $40 for what easily could have been $70, but they chose not to. There was Helldivers 2 controversy, but that's a whole different podcast episode entirely. But right now, what should have been a fun day is now a terrible day. Because people lost their jobs, it's getting worse, and it only can get worse from here. And that's what's scary. It is not the best time to have this happen. We are not in the best economic situation, and that is just completely political. I'm not even going to get into that. But, yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's one of those things where you need to wake up and smell the roses. Be happy for what you got, because the next day you might not have it. There's a reason why it's called the present. Because it's a gift. Today is a gift. Tomorrow's not guaranteed. And that's what's going on in the gaming industry now. That's what these developers just experienced. They just realized that tomorrow wasn't guaranteed. And for hundreds of game developers that will lose their jobs, tomorrow was never guaranteed. And unfortunately, their tomorrow wasn't guaranteed. And now they have to find new jobs in a very competitive market. And now there's going to be hundreds of people vibing, hoping to God that they can get a job again. And that worries the hell out of me. Because that's when things scramble and people get absorbed in the different departments. And I just pray that this gets sorted soon, because I can almost guarantee you that this is just the beginning. This is only the beginning. It's only May. If this was the end of 2024, I can justify saying that. It's like, yeah, no, it's done. No, this is May. The Game Awards still have to come. That's going to be the interesting part. Because the head of Microsoft hosts that. At least I think it's the head of Microsoft. And if it keeps up like this, expect booze. That's going to be interesting to see how I do it. But, alright, I am over my usual 12-minute time limit. So, I want to finish off with this. It's a hard time being a gamer because we have subpar games coming up and being charged full price, and that's never fun. And now, if you look at the other side of the spectrum, with the game developers, I can only imagine what hell they're going through. And I hope they get through it very fast. And I hope they bounce on their feet very quickly. But that is all for this time. I will see you guys in the next episode. And hopefully I will see you... Actually, no, I'm not going to plug it this time. This is not a good time to plug whatever I was going to plug. Alright guys, my name is Jacob, also known as the Exploitative Gamer. You have a great May. Bye-bye.